Focus this hour. The Delhi blast investigation has reached a critical juncture. Investigators have uncovered crucial details about terrorist Umar's route and the attack's execution, including links to secret labs, the funding and Jaish-e-Mohammed handlers. In the next 30 minutes, we will be delving into some of the key findings in the past 24 hours. Well, CCTV footage has surfaced showing the movement of Dr. Umar Nabi, who later blew himself up with explosives in Delhi approximately 18 hours before the blast on November 10th at 1:23 a.m. CCTV footage captured Umar arriving in an I-20 near the HDFC Bank ATM on Biwa Road, Firozpur, Jhirka in New district. After stepping out of the vehicle, he covered his face with a mask and entered the ATM kiosk. He attempted to withdraw cash for about 3 minutes, but the machines reportedly did not disperse money. Major General Dhruv Katoch, defense expert, is joining us live in the broadcast. Major General Katoch, what do you make of this fresh CCTV footage emerging of the main suspected bomber?
Thank you, Vineet. I think, as time goes by, more and more information will keep coming about as to what this particular bomber was doing. But in my view, I still think that he was trying to escape. He wanted to get away, and the explosion was not really a part of his plan. He wanted to get out. He also wanted to, because that explosive was perhaps lying in his house or somewhere, and he wanted to get rid of the evidence. That is why it was in the car, and he carried it with him. But I think the more important thing is who were the people who were backing this man. And while this, the medical college, the medical institution, that was where all the action took place, there was somebody behind it. And over that somebody would also have been somebody. I think that is the plot which we need to unravel. The people who were behind this plot, these doctors were simply the agents. They couldn't have been the planners. So they were part of a larger plot. They were used, and they were susceptible. Why they got susceptible, I don't know. It could have been blackmail, could have been ideological, could have been any reason. But there is much more to it than meets the eye. When you mentioned funding, I think that's a very important point, because ultimately the people who fund are the people who are the backers, or they will be closer to the backers than the others. So the funding is, once we trace the funding, where did these people get the money from? His other associates, where were they getting the money from? I think that trail will lead us exactly as to who were the perpetrators, and that will be a very, very important facet of the investigation.
Right. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer, also with us. Sanjay Sahai was concealing his identity. This individual was covering his face when he stepped out to the ATMs, tried to get money. They did not disperse money, went off. This happened 18 hours before that explosion. What do we make of this?
See, he was trying to organize money, there is no doubt about it. And if you get into the whole history of whatever we have been able to unravel so far, there is certainly a movement of money, and whatever number of lakhs they were able to garner and the amount of money they spent in getting ammonium nitrate. So certainly money was being organized and it was being used for the purposes which the handlers told them. As my esteemed panelist was talking about, so what we have been able to get so far is only the operational details from the time this poster appeared in Nogam till the current day. We have not been able to lay our own hands, and might be the investigative agencies are aware of it or they have the lead, but it has not been put in the public domain. That is primarily as to who the handlers were. The Molvi, he started his radicalization from that part to the rented accommodation, which is there in this particular place close to Al Falah University. So all those things, how it was happening, and there were two critical Molvis, one in Jammu and Kashmir and one here at Faridabad, who have been lending support in a very, very big way. The whole, see, there are couple of things which are very, very important. One is the radicalization process. Whether, see, we have been talking about lone wolves, where somebody picks up something from the social media, he gets radicalized and he gets into and executes a terrorist activity. If these people didn't have handlers, then how did they come together and why this plot happened? Can it happen only through somebody who's radicalizing on his own for a variety of reasons, and then create this whole gamut of doctors, making them into basically weapons? I'm nearly convinced of the fact, the evidence will prove later, I'm nearly convinced of the fact that before this, or above those handlers and the Maulvis which were there in this country, there is certainly a group of people, state actors, non-state actors, or non-state actors supported by state actors who were actually running the show. And they were the people who have strategized that we will infiltrate into the medical fraternity for obvious reasons of camouflage, trust, and variety of other things. And also, they're very, very clear about the fact that which academic institution will be of use. Might be, see, today, Al Falah University, they cannot claim ignorance. If they feign ignorance, or they were indifferent, or they were supportive, whatever it might be, it is culpable, it is criminal conspiracy. You are somewhere tacitly involved into that. When your lab is being used, it is doing consistently, things are happening, things are getting sourced, things are getting experimented. So broadly, it is here we stand. One
Yes.
thing which I'm generally pained all the time is that the CCTVs are being used as only a post-mortem tool, and CCTV with the nature of investment and technology which is available, very rarely it has helped us as a tool which is preventive and who has provided it real time and dynamic. Huge amount of technological upgradation on the process side, on the analytics side that needs to happen, plus the interoperability. Now today, if the Jammu Kashmir police wants to see
Okay.
the Delhi CCTV for a specific purpose, they will not be able to do.
Right. Well, more chilling details are also emerging now in the Delhi terror attack, with the investigators claiming that Dr. Umar Nabi, the prime suspect, had set up a laboratory at his home to test the bomb-making techniques shared with him by Pakistani handlers. This information was reportedly unearthed during the questioning of the arrested doctors linked to the case. As per reports, Dr. Umar, along with Dr. Muzammil and Dr. Adil, rather, had been in direct contact with Pakistani handlers on Telegram. The handlers sent instructions, radicalization material and bomb-making videos through the encrypted platform. Dr. Umar was believed to be the primary bomb-making specialist in the group. He had set up a lab inside his house and worked alone to assemble IEDs. Investigators said he followed the steps shown in the videos, tested chemicals used as explosives and examined trigger mechanisms to increase the impact of the device. So Dr. Umar clearly was at work, Major General Dhruv Katoch, and he was, getting instructions, he and two others reportedly from Pakistani handlers through the social media app, messaging app, Telegram.
Yeah, I can believe this, that this chap was in contact with the Pakistani handlers, but I would be a bit suspicious of stating that he was the only chap actually trying to manufacture that bomb. There would have been others. Um, uh, who those others were, I presume, even if the investigating agencies know, I'm quite certain that at this point of time, they would not like to reveal that information or to give the game away. But there is no way that this Umar Chappie, he's the fellow who was, solely trying to make the bomb. We are talking of 3,000 kilograms of explosives. It is beyond the capacity of one man. There would have been others. I think this chap, if he was trying it out, he was doing it on his own. Apparently, he did a very bad job because he had absolutely no idea as to what this sort of what ammonium nitrate and other chemicals which are involved can do. If he had known that, I don't think he would have been in a his car wouldn't have blasted. He would have been in a position to better carry out the storage of this particular explosive material. One, he would have been in a position to actually know how it is to be transported. Now, it is evident that he was not aware of either of these two issues, so his knowledge on that sphere, in my particular view, was weak. The next point is, if he had to assemble this, if you had to assemble an explosive device of this nature, you require the detonation system. We haven't found that, at least the information which is available to us, those detonation systems, either through switches or through detonators or through any other means, that hasn't come out, whether it was detected from his residence or anywhere else. So I think there is much more to it than that. There are many other people involved. We have to get them also, Vineet.
More breaking updates, in fact, now coming. The Central Investigation Agency NI has arrested a man named Amir in connection with the Red Fort blast. The NI has arrested Amir Rashid Ali, a Kashmiri resident from Delhi, the owner of the car used in the blast, and one of his associates of suicide bomber Umar. Investigations reveal that Amir helped Umar Nabi purchase the car that was later used in the blast to plant an IED. The NI has also confirmed through forensic tests that the driver killed in the car was Umar Nabi. a resident of Pulwama and an assistant professor at the Al Falah University. The agency has seized another vehicle belonging to Umar. 73 witnesses have also been questioned so far. What are the latest details coming in, Javed? Fresh arrests made, fresh vehicle seizures also, more action by the NI.
बिल्कुल देखिए, एनआईए लगातार सेंट्रल एजेंसी जो इस पूरे लाल किले के पास हुए ब्लास्ट मामले को लेकर लगातार इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रही थी, और इस वक्त एनआईए को एक बड़ी कामयाबी मिली कि जिस I-20 कार को उमर चला रहा था, उमर नबी, और जो इस ब्लास्ट में मारा गया, और सैंपल के बाद, डीएनए सैंपल के बाद ये साफ हो पाया कि कार के अंदर जो मरने वाला शख्स है इस ब्लास्ट में वो उमर नबी है। लेकिन इससे भी सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि एनआईए ने आमिर नाम के एक शख्स को गिरफ्तार किया जो कश्मीर मुल्क का रहने वाला है, और इस पूरे मॉड्यूल को लेकर जिस तरीके से सुसाइडर जो कार का इस्तेमाल होना था इसको खरीदने में से लेकर सारे इस कॉन्स्पिरेसी में जो है एक आमिर नाम का एक शख्स जो है कश्मीर मुल्क से सेंट्रल एजेंसी ने गिरफ्तार किया है। आपको बता दें कि अब तक 73 लोगों की बयान को दर्ज किया जा चुका है, और एक और गाड़ी को भी जो एजेंसी है उसने सीज किया है आमिर के पास से, और अब आमिर को गिरफ्त में लेकर जो इस पूरे मॉड्यूल को लेकर पूछताछ की जाएगी। और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि इसमें जो इसका मास्टरमाइंड है, जो इसका मेन मास्टरमाइंड जो बताया जा रहा है, इसके पीछे जो सबसे बड़ा हैंडलर्स है उसको लेकर भी अब एनआईए जो अपनी तलाश और तेज हो गई है। देखिए 10 नवंबर के बाद से जिस तरीके से 11 नवंबर के बाद 12 नवंबर यानी कि ब्लास्ट के तीसरे दिन जो है केंद्रीय जांच एजेंसी एनआईए को गृह मंत्रालय की तरफ से इस ब्लास्ट की जिम्मेदारी सौंप दी गई थी, और एनआईए की कई टीमें जिसमें विजय साफे जो कि एडीजी एनआईए थे उनके नेतृत्व में इस पूरे इन्वेस्टिगेशन को आगे बढ़ाया जा रहा था। लेकिन देखिए इसमें एक चीज और है, सोर्सेज के हवाले से मैं आपको बता दूं कि इसमें जो आईएसबीटी के पास जो हनुमान मंदिर है उस रूट को भी इन्होंने रैकी की थी, जो जानकारी मिल रही है, क्योंकि ये जो पार्किंग था जहाँ पे इन्होंने गाड़ी पार्क की थी उसके बाद जहाँ पे गाड़ी निकाली, और जल्दबाजी में कहीं ना कहीं डेटोनेटर्स के इससे जो ये गाड़ी में पूरी तरीके से जो ब्लास्ट हुआ, उसके बाद ये जो गाड़ी था वहां से पार्किंग से निकालने के बाद इन्हें कहीं और ले जाना था। लेकिन जिस तरीके से सोमवार को ये घटना हुई, और ऐसा एजेंसी इस बात को भी लेके जांच करी कि मंगलवार का दिन जो आईएसबीटी के पास हनुमान मंदिर है वहां पे काफी भीड़ भाड़ होता है, और वो वहां से महज कुछ ही कदमों की दूरी पर है, तो ऐसा माना जा रहा है कि ये इस गाड़ी को वहां पर भी लगाने की ऐसी इनकी साजिश थी। लेकिन फिलहाल अब जो आमिर है, आमिर गिरफ्तार हो चुका है, और इसमें उमर जो कि इसमें मारा जा चुका है, डॉक्टर मुजम्मिल, इसके अलावा शाहीन शाहिद, इसके अलावा डॉक्टर आदिल और कई डॉक्टर सज्जाद, कई ऐसे डॉक्टर्स हैं जो अब इस वक्त एनआईए के गिरफ्त में है, और कई ऐसे और डॉक्टर्स हैं जिनको लेकर अब जो है उसकी इन्वेस्टिगेशन की जा रही है। जो 15 डॉक्टर्स हैं उदय, उनकी भी तलाश की जा रही है जो मिसिंग अल्फला से। और आमिर के बारे में बता दूं कि आमिर भी अल्फला से ही था, और यहाँ पर वो असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर बताया जा रहा है, और यहाँ से ही वो यहाँ पर वो फैकल्टी में क्लास लेता था। अब जिस तरीके से एक पूरा नेक्सस है डॉक्टर्स की, इस पूरी जो एक पूरे टेरर मॉड्यूल का एक नेक्सस सामने आया है, इसको लेकर आमिर
जी बिल्कुल कुछ और इस वक्त बड़ी जानकारी आ रही है। द न्यू डायमेंशन इन द रेड फोर्ट ब्लास्ट प्रोब इज ओपनिंग। Once regarded as a bright academic mind at the Al Falah University, Umar, the terrorist, reportedly used his authority on campus to push hardline ideology among students who looked up to him. Investigators have recorded the testimony of a young woman from Imphal who confirmed she was in contact with Dr. Umar, though she denies adopting his ideology. She was allegedly given a Muslim identity called Maryam after coming in contact with him. As per sources, the girl told interrogators that she listened to Umar because he was a senior faculty member, but she denied adopting his ideology. So reportedly, this individual, Sanjay Sahai, this terrorist Dr. Umar, was trying to indoctrinate young students as well. This student from Imphal talking about how he gave her an Islamic identity and tried to indoctrinate her as well, but failed.
There is no denying the fact that radicalization of these minds, inclusive of all the doctors, is at the core of this extremist plot, is at the core of what we call as the white-collared terror. And this girl did not finally adopt or got converted to that ideology, or Umar was not able to radicalize her in a manner in which he wanted. But the Maulvi in Jammu and Kashmir, I think he had left the studies after third standard. And then he went to to the madrasa, he got his training, and he was in a position with whatever little education he had at the formal level to radicalize these people, wherein they started believing that the medical profession itself was a smaller or lesser part of their existence, and the bigger part of their existence was to wage war against the infidels. So that is broadly what I can understand. So I still of the opinion that it is a much bigger radicalization factory. It is a radicalization industry at scale. So let's be very, very clear about it. So the ideological brainwashing, and if you read any of their literature, they first and foremost is they need to hack your brain and take your brain under their control. Once that transpires, then it becomes a very, very easy journey. From there, you get into the person who has been indoctrinated, the fellow who was third pass. So he indoctrinates a MBBS MD. The capability of this MBBS MD to indoctrinate other people at his level by his wit, knowledge, brilliance, and being a part of that particular brotherhood or bonhomie or the professional group becomes much larger. And that is why one or two of these mullahs, with their half-baked knowledge but completely committed to this type of ideology, they brainwashed a couple of these people, and it spreads in a manner as is wildfire. We start literally believing as if these people are uneducated people, even uneducated people will not buy that idea. So radicalization is a very, very serious affair, and there have been efforts by the government, not today, for a last at least 2 decades or more, to initiate a de-radicalization process. There is a strategy for the de-radicalization process. I'm convinced of the fact that huge amount of work is being done in that sector, but still instances of this nature, modules of this nature, because of the persistent money and variety of other things which comes from across the borders, and handlers and powers that be who are completely committed to keep us in an unsettled state. So that is at the core of it.
Okay, let me in fact also now quickly get you in, Major Katoch, on this radicalization attempt being made by Dr. Umar. What do you make of it? Obviously, he was trying to indoctrinate students. He was trying to push this radical ideology among students as well, giving them Islamic identities, trying to preach hatred to them. He failed with this student from Imphal, but who knows who are the others he was indoctrinating on the campus where he was teaching. And as this girl says, that she had to listen to him because he was a senior faculty member.
What my colleague Mr. Sahai said, I'm totally with him. Ultimately, it's all about ideology and radicalization, and it is a mind problem. It is a problem of the brain. Now, for this doctor, when he is meeting fellow, his students, they are actually operating on a different plane. But when he is being radicalized himself, when he goes to a madrasa or to a masjid, and there's a Maulvi who's preaching to him, they are on a different wavelength. So in my view, I think, within the religion, it'll be easier for people to, on religious grounds, try to motivate them to join a particular path, simply saying Islam khatre mein hai, or, some stuff like that, and trying to tell them that they are really fighting for a much larger cause. For a doctor to actually tell his students that they are fighting for a much larger cause doesn't really become logical, because there is, that cause factor doesn't come in. That Islam factor doesn't come in there. He's in a medical profession. He's trying to teach something, and then he's trying to tell them something. So it is. I think it's for these people to radicalize people will be more difficult. However, if people are already radicalized, then they will be drawn towards them. That means that the group can become bigger. So when we are looking at this Al-Falah University or the deemed university, you found a whole lot of like-minded people who are actually being sent there. And then it becomes a very cohesive and a larger body. So we have to hit at this. If you have to sort this out, you have to hit at the ideology. I think, this political correctness of saying, no, we shouldn't interfere with their affairs and all that. In Saudi Arabia, which is supposed to be the heart of Islam, they monitor what the Maulvi teaches. Now, if they can do that in Saudi Arabia, I think we need to do something in India to ensure at least we know what that man is preaching to the people down below. And some of that preaching can get very, very violent. In Deoband itself, if you listen to some of the discourse which has come out, the hate which is actually being taught there is something unbelievable. And it is written in the books which they teach. It is not something which is new or something. The governor has actually spoken about that. So I think we have to, this political correctness, the more we start doing it and all that, we are doing a great disservice to the nation. But more importantly, we are doing a great disservice to the Muslims of this country.
Okay.
And lastly, one more point, Vineet, I want to give, in this particular discourse, I think the Maulvi has taken the better of the Muslim intellectual.
All right.
That is a shame.
More
Why
updates
is
coming in.
that?
In fact, now,
Why?
according to reports following the arrest of Dr. Muzammil Ahmed and Dr. Shaheen Shaheed, both linked to the Falah University, terrorist Umar had gone into hiding. Venturing out only after dark to minimize exposure, he avoided public transport and markets during the day. Most CCTV footage that have surfaced except for the day of the attack show visuals from night time. A Faridabad mobile shop CCTV captured him with 2 smartphones, but he switched them off after hiding them to evade cell tower tracking. So clearly he was hiding. Clearly that bust and the arrest had, of course, made him go into hiding, which is why he was only emerging at night time, which is why he was only venturing out for important things like the cell phones and also trying to get money from an ATM, General Katoj.
Yeah, I think that is the way it is. So this man, he was hiding, and the Jammu and Kashmir police, please remember, had actually given a statement. They had put it down on the social
Yeah.
media that we are going to get you. He said, "Tum kahan chipoge? We are going to get you," and he knew it. So right from that morning, he started, and he wanted to get away. That is why he was moving in the night, uh, collecting his money or something. But ultimately, he is a pawn. He may be a doctor, he may be qualified, he may be anything. He is still a very, very minor pawn. There are people above him. And those are the people we need to get, the people behind the plot. They may be 1 or 2 levels or 3 levels above him. But ultimately, the final level will be in the Jaish headquarters in Pakistan. But there will be people in India. It is simply not that telephonic instructions or instructions are coming from the mobile from Pakistan and these people are obeying it. There are people in India. I don't know who they are. They could belong to any religious group. They could be bought for money. They could be ideologically motivated. So once we break that racket, I think I think this network would have broken. In any case, the network has been broken to a very large extent. In my personal view, because I've dealt with these cases for many, many years, this has been an outstanding operation. And I hope it continues in this manner till we come to the logical conclusion. Vineet.
Sajid Sahai, I leave the last word to you on, of course, the kind of effect that bust in Faridabad and arrest of the 2 operatives had, those 2 doctors had on the other members of the module and particularly Dr. Umar.
That literally unsettled their whole conspiracy plot, and they did not know where to hide for cover. So that primarily put them in a situation wherein their whole planning and the conspiracy plot, it went haywire. From the second when this plot was busted till the time the Delhi blast happened, we will have to very clearly put out the narrative by piecing all pieces of this particular journey, and then we will be able to tell how it impacted the suicide bomber, if you call him, and the whole movement which has happened during this course of things. And it was that particular expose or particular seizure that led to the whole course of events. And I'm 100% convinced of the fact that the investigative agencies, they are sitting on further huge amount of clues, investigating, putting in threads. It's a multi-agency, coordinated, well-focused investigation. If even 10% of this was done earlier at a multi-agency level and had the information been shared and acted upon, the CCTVs as a force multiplier and in variety of other ways which the police does, I think the situation would have been totally different. Nonetheless, from the time of detection till now, it has been a very, very commendable probe, and we have been able to unravel quite a large part of it. Whatever is not known to us is certainly known to the investigative agencies, and every inch which they take today is finally getting consolidated and concretized. And we are going to where our esteemed panelist is talking about, to reach the Jesha headquarters and the whole journey, how the communication happened. Telegram and these other channels, they are not very easy thing to decrypt or to become the user in the user's name. So I think that exercise would be on. It has been tried in the US. in San Bernardino case, it would be being tried here as well. I think those encrypted messages, they hold the real key to whatever happened outside of the operational thing of which we are aware of.
All right. My thanks to our guests for joining us on the broadcast. Let's slip into a short break.